All right, and we're back with the show. Once again, it is Gerald Glassford from the Pop Culture Cosmos here. Thank you so much for being part of the broadcast here today. And I'll tell you what, it's TV time. Just changing the channels all the way around. And you know what? I tell you what, it's just a great time for television talk because we are having, first off, our fall preview for television. We did video games. We also did a fall movie preview, which you can check out on our previous 2 episodes. But today it is a fall TV preview, and who better to preview the fall season with us than our good friend? She is the lead writer. You know what? I'm going to give you promotion. You're the lead writer for the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out all the amazing articles, the amazing updates, the awesome updates that they have each and every time when it comes, as far as the latest ratings news, reviews, original programming. You got to check it out. Plus, there's a couple things that I put over there too as well at the TVRatingsGuide.com. That's the TVRatingsGuide.com. It is my good friend, and she is our TV ratings guru. It is Jessica Boggs. Always great to have you back on the show. In fact, I am just so happy that we're going to have you on for the next 3 episodes. Not just 1, not just 2, but 3 episodes for you as well.
3 episodes.
Absolutely. You're going to be talking a lot on the next 3 shows, so it's just great to have you here and great to be talking a lot of TV rating stuff. But on today's show, we're going to be talking a great fall preview that we've got coming up for everyone out there. There's a lot of stuff to talk about this fall as far as what's going on with the various news outlets, but various broadcast and cable outlets. So I'm going to hit you up first with what's going on. What is hot when it comes to ABC coming this fall to television?
Well, we new dramas, Stonetown and Emergence, aka the NBC reject that is put on NBC. No, I meant ABC.
So Stumptown and Emergence. Emergence is the one that got rejected by NBC and is put onto ABC. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Hand-me-downs. I like that. Hand-me-downs.
And then there is a reboot of Kids Say the Darndest Things. Plus, we also got final seasons of Modern Family and How to Get Away with Murder coming up.
I was kind of surprised with How to Get Away with Murder that it is its final season. I know there was declining ratings, but I thought the show still had more life. Modern Family, I'm not too surprised. It's already, has a long life ahead of itself in syndication, and they had already indicated that this would be its final season, so I'm not too surprised there. But before we head on to CBS, I just want to ask you, is there anything else that's intriguing about what's on the ABC fall slate that you might like to tell about?
I think I want to see how Bless This Mess and Schooled is going to hold up, but that's going to be in the tepid category.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and tepid a little bit later, because when we're dealing with the fall TV preview, we've got what's hot, what's tepid, and what is cold. So we're going to go here in a little bit, but on what's tepid and also what's cold with the various networks. CBS, CBS is just a love-hate situation with me each and every year, because they have seemingly, we go over and over again on what they do and how they cater their programming. But okay, Jessica, let's give everybody an update on what you think is hot for CBS coming up this fall.
What I'm going to think it's hot for CBS this fall, the 3 new comedies, Bob Hart's Abishola, The Unicorn, and Carol's Second Act. So we're going to see which one is going to hold up in the ratings. Bob Hart's Abishola is the new comedy from Chuck Lorre, creator of The Big Bang Theory, and Carol's Second Act stars The Middles, Patricia Heaton. And there's more information on the unicorn, except for the fact that I know that it's young Sheldon lead out.
So they should get a good bump up from there, you think, right? Or they should get a nice residual effect from that, don't you think?
They should,
Okay.
based on the retention aspect.
Well, it's very interesting because CBS now is going into a different type of thinking, a different, I guess, a different era because they're coming back. They're reunifying with Viacom. It's been made official in the past few days. So it's something that a lot of people were pointing towards too. In fact, they should have never broken up in the first place back in the early 2000s, but they did. But now they're back together. It's a love fest. And I know there's a lot of questions in regards to their programming, both on the air with their broadcast, the cable networks that are affected as far as from a Viacom standpoint, CBS All Access. There's a ton of questions that people are asking about. And of course, it all starts with the main broadcast network with CBS. So hopefully those shows will hit for CBS as they look to go ahead and expand their audience and try to recapture some of the glory that they had earlier this decade when they were the it network. And as far as broadcasting is concerned, with NBC now taking a little bit larger share of the pie indeed. And speaking of NBC, we've got to talk about them because they are leading the ratings as far as broadcast networks are concerned. What is hot coming to NBC this fall?
We got the new Bluff City Law, which is the newest lead out for The Voice. So we're going to see if the legal drama, which should have been Chicago Justice, by the way, is going to hold up in the ratings. But we've seen mixed results, but I'm optimistic to see how it's going to hold up. Plus, also, I'm going to see what's hot about One Chicago and how One Chicago is going to retain itself in its stability on Wednesday nights.
Because it is a whole Chicago thing, all 3 hours. When you guys and gals at the TVRatingsGuide.com do your reporting, do you also report not just on the nationwide national rating, but is there any way you could go ahead and get the fast rating from the Chicago area? Because I'm interested to see how much more individual, what's the larger share as far as the proportion of Chicago viewers actually watching One Chicago as opposed to, let's say, the rest of the nation. I think that would be totally interesting because I know we see it all the time when it comes to sporting events, depending on the team, depending on the places, you can get ratings from specific areas of the country. I am so fascinated to understand exactly how much more popular One Chicago is, or that 3 hour block is, with the folks in Chicago as opposed to the rest of the country.
I'm pretty interested in seeing that too, but there's barely a website that reports all these data. And we used to do some of the reporting on what's the number one affiliate ratings in there. And
Well,
Chicago is its number one network.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm interested to see how much more popular it is than the actual Fast Nationals itself. But yes, it's going to be one. When you've got One Chicago, they're really leaning into it. It's something that they've developed over the course of time, from one show to two shows, now three shows covering that entire night. So looking forward to seeing how popular and how well One Chicago holds up over the course of the next fall season. But there's something also on the way as far as from Fox. I know they've got a lot of interest out there from, with obviously the Beverly Hills 90210 revival that's got a lot of interest and things of that nature. That's a lot of interest from fans out there recently because that just debuted. But when it comes to Fox, what is hot as well that's coming this fall to that network?
We got new dramas, Almost Family and Prodigal Son, coming out. And we also have animated comedies, Bless the Heart, coming out. We're going to see how it does without football. And we also have the second season of The Masked Singer. I'm interested in seeing if it holds up in its second season, whether
Well,
we see a hold up in where it stabilizes or it turns into like a Joe Millionaire type collapse.
I'm interested to see how well it does, in the second season also. But I can tell you right now, I'm going to say it's going to do very well against what it did. Whether or not it will match up exactly what it did last year, because we became that fascination that a lot of people were pointing towards. I still think like The Voice and a lot of these other long-running reality competition shows, I think it fits more into that category. I don't think it's going to be a passe fad. I think it still will have some type of strong ratings. Whether or not it's going to have the same amount of ratings that it did in its previous season, I'm not sure about that. But I do think it's going to be something that Fox can use for a pillar and a cornerstone for at least the short term next 1, 2, possibly even 3 seasons, or even more to come. But I think it will be something that a lot of people will actually still go towards to as far as their television sets for the foreseeable future.
Well, they cut its budget for the second season, especially in the costume department. So it's going to be interesting if that's going to translate into ratings. Like normally if you have a really big hit, like you have to raise the budget, but it cut its budget.
Well, then again, it could be also startup costs. Startup costs sometimes take a lot of the initial funds out of it, and now that they have something in place, they may have they may be able to keep costs somewhat accordingly. But you're right. If they go too far on the budget cutting side with something like that, people will just tune out right away.
Exactly.
All right, and then we've got next, one of your favorite networks that's out there. You cannot forget, although sometimes I'd like to, we cannot forget about our friends at the CW, because sometimes the CW just irritates me with some of the stuff that they do. But all right, there's got to be some stuff that's coming out that's hot. I know Batwoman, I have been on record already as saying that I'm interested with this show coming up. I'm interested to see where that goes. I'm happy that they're going to go ahead and be able to portray this LGBTQ plus character that's going to have a lot of people talking, I'm sure. But also there's some other stuff that's coming out and some stuff that's leaving that's going to make the news when it comes to what's hot at CW.
Well, right now we got, besides Batwoman, we also have the final seasons of Arrow and Supernatural coming on. That is big news, but more to come later. Plus, we also have our Nancy Drew coming on. That's like our CBS show. We don't know where that's going to hold up. Just
Yeah.
today, we have seen an article of how Mark Pettis answered the question on sleeper hits, and he said Nancy Drew would be like a sleeper hit. I'm pretty skeptical about that because there's obvious CBS favoritism going on, starting with Beauty and the Beast from several seasons back all the way to Reign, and then you have like Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and now Dynasty. Because CW has this reputation of like keeping low-rated CBS shows on the air past what would be their normal expiration date.
I agree with you. I don't hold as much optimism for Nancy Drew. I'm sorry. The previous Nancy Drew series was probably the highest rated it will ever be. I don't think this iteration of the Nancy Drew series is going to go ahead and materialize well with audiences. But, again, when it comes to CW, it's always a mix mash of shows that don't perform well in the ratings overall. But if they hold a certain number, they can stay on for several years at the CW. So that's, it's just something that interests me where, you'll see these constant. The TVRatingsGuide.com will always report that okay, it did a 0.2, it did a 0.3, it did a 0.2, it did a 0.3, and it gets year after year after year after year, which is to me sometimes amazing that these networks, even a network like the CW, still tolerates those kind of numbers consistently. I mean, when it comes to the end of Arrow and Supernatural, I mean, how low did these ratings actually have to go in order for these shows to finally get that axe out of there? So it's interesting to see how that will materialize with the final seasons of Arrow and Supernatural, and the Flash now coming to the forefront as the official lead show for the network at CW. So we're going to have to see how that plays out. But when it comes to what's hot, we've talked about. Now, when it comes to the broadcast networks, we want to talk about what's tepid. And what you're saying is tepid in that some stuff that may or may not hit with audiences. You're not quite sure. It's on the fence. We don't know. But things that we still want to talk about when it comes to what's tepid at ABC.
Well, Tuesdays Outside of the Connors is
You okay? Still on? Are you okay? Are you ready? Or you're on mute.
okay.
Sorry, no worries, no worries. So we'll go ahead. We'll start off with what's tepid. Okay. All right. Let's go with Jess. What's tepid coming up at ABC?
So before I was rudely interrupted, okay, we'll go back to the what's tepid on ABC. Tuesdays Outside of the Connors is going to be like hit and miss. Also Wednesdays. So we're gonna see like where's the post Modern Family era, how those Wednesday comedies are gonna hold up. So far, it's okay, pretty good. But Tuesdays are going to be the big concern in the fall with the Connors to see how it holds up. I mean, it's still doing solid, but it's not even setting the ratings world on fire back when it was Roseanne in the early part of the Connors. And then we also have TGIF with American Housewife becoming the second move to Friday comedy since they restarted TGIF last season, and it was to mixed results.
So there is a lot going on when it comes to what is on the fence at ABC. I know CBS is going to have some issues as well. Like I said, they're still trying to regain their form, their lost form from what they had earlier this decade. So, Jess, I want to ask you, what is tepid going on right now with the fall schedule for CBS?
I think the tepid that's going on is like the veteran dramas. I mean, we had one drama get banished to mid-season for a reboot that wasn't even as strong to begin with. And then there's this whole future post The Big Bang Theory. And right now, I'm optimistic that the comedies are going to hold up, but I don't think they're going to set the ratings world on fire like in the Big Bang era days. But still, solid enough to keep the lights on.
But NBC doesn't have that many type of questions when it comes to what is on the fence. It's either a hit or it's not, seemingly, with NBC. But there is maybe one or two things that you think that you want to cover on what is on the fence and what's tepid with NBC.
Thursday night in general, though, I do expect the anchors to hit, but their lead outs are probably going to be a miss. So overall, the night is going to probably be like on the fence, though. We know Superstore and The Good Place are going to remain pretty solid, but I'm not really optimistic about their new shows, though, because we know those new shows are probably not going to hit. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine is going to come back in January.
But I love Superstore. Love Superstore. Go Superstore. But anyways, you're right. But that sounds like it's going to be something that NBC doesn't. And with NBC now on top, they can easily just go ahead and just axe anything that they want. That if it's not doing up to snuff, that's when you're number one. I've seen where shows that probably would be given more leash on a different network are just axed right away. So you're right. When it comes to Thursday nights on NBC, that could be an issue if they're not going ahead and getting the type of love or same amount of love that The Good Place, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, or Superstore are getting on Thursday nights. Now, what is going on with Fox that you think could go either way as far as in a real good or real bad direction? What do you think could be tepid at Fox?
Tuesdays and Fridays, like overall, we know Empire is having its final season on Tuesday, and it has been going down like ever since the controversy has going on, but it has been going down ever since, even before that. And so it's going to probably go out the way of Glee and go out with a whimper on a Tuesday night. Whereas we have The Resident moving to Tuesdays. It's going to probably do solid for Fox in there, but Tuesday is going to be like, still going to probably be like a low rated night. Fridays, you have SmackDown. SmackDown has been declining in the ratings in the later part of its USA run, and that's probably not going to be good for Fox.
Yeah, this is something that has gone on for over 2-3 years now. Their ratings have been declining as far as not only SmackDown, but also Raw as well over the course of time. I mean, I could go on forever about it since I have an affinity for the pro wrestling enterprise that's out there. I could go on as why these things are happening, but this comes at maybe a good time for the WWE because having them put out onto a network such as Fox could be a big benefit and a big boom for them if they're able to go ahead and promote it properly or find an individual that they can go ahead and center around that people will get behind and increase the ratings. But you're right. As of right now, ratings are only slightly up for them as far as from a cable standpoint. They average right around 2.5 million per episode for SmackDown. So you're trying to translate that over into a Fox network. Hopefully they're able to go ahead and generate that audience or even more when it comes to what's going on to Fox and be able to get back into at least the 3 million range. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case, but we'll have to wait and see. But you're right. The product itself of WWE needs a lot of help. Maybe this will be something that does get the WWE back into a better shape or better frame of mind with fans. But yeah, there's a lot more I could go about, and that would be like a whole nother episode. I don't want to have to bore everyone out here to death on my rants when it comes to the WWE. But yes,
it's kind of like you're moving the B show, but you're keeping the A show on cable.
well, yeah, USA will not let go of that one. USA will not let go of Monday Night Raw. SmackDown, as you know, it's been all over the place. It's been on UPN. It's been on Sci-Fi. It's been on, it's been on several different outlets already. So SmackDown seems to be that show that they want to keep going on, and hopefully this will be something that will bring SmackDown to the forefront. But again, it's all up to the WWE and how they go ahead and prioritize that show and prioritize the individuals that are working on it. What's going on that could be tepid when it comes to your favorite network again, at least seemingly anyways, when it comes to the CW?
Everything that's not named The Flash is basically going to be your 0.3, 0.4 zone this season. You got the superhero shows, the ones that are produced by WB. We got All American, that's a question mark. It's been at 0.2, 0.3 in its first season. And it got moved to the anchor slot for hopefully to help out Black Lightning, but I'm not optimistic about that. And you see Legacies. I'm hoping. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that eventually Legacies is going to be moving to 8 p.m., though after Supernatural ends in the future, because Thursday night lineup, solid for CW.
Very solid indeed, and let's hope that's the case. But again, as I was talking about earlier, when it comes to CW, those 0.3, 0.4s keep CW satisfied. It wouldn't be for me if I'm running CW. I'm always striving for more, but you know what? That's the CW, and take it or leave it when it comes to them. But we talked about what's hot. We've talked about what's tepid. Now, Jessica, I'm getting a chill. I'm getting my jacket on because we're now talking about what's cold when it comes to the broadcast networks for our fall TV preview. So first off, we're going to go to the chill zone. What is going on and what is cold when it comes to ABC?
The major point of what's cold would be Dancing with the Stars. And it's not setting the ratings world on fire. It was one of the lowest rated shows last fall on ABC. And which is why they cut the spring season of Dancing with the Stars for American Idol. And this is one of those shows that depends on whether or not they have a buzzy cast or not. And we have to wait and see. After that, we have TGIT outside of Grey's Anatomy, because apparently they're going to say that it's not going to be TGIT without Station 19. And Station 19 was benched to midseason. So now we have a million little things taking over its time slot for most of the season. We're going to see how it holds up. And you got the final season of How to Get Away with Murder with its declining ratings and all. I mean, TGIT outside of Grey's, it's gone, according to Carrie Burke. It's gone.
And you also talked about before in the past about The Rookie and where it stood after a somewhat promising first initial season, and it did get the go ahead to go ahead. It did get the go ahead to be on for another season, but there's been a lot of controversy over the past few weeks when it concerns The Rookie. There was an individual on the cast who left due to what they deemed was racial and sexual harassment. And there's a lot of people pointing the finger at not only The Rookie or ABC for a lot of the wrong reasons. So that I think should be on, that I believe is also on your cold list as well.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be like on the cold list because it got moved to basically what we call ABC's Sunday night, 10 p.m. That's ABC's death slot nowadays. Because Tuesday, not so much. Like, you got the Tuesday used to be historically its death slot, and now Sunday night has completely taken that away because we have all those shows from recent seasons like that got American Crime, you got 10 Days in the Valley, and then Alec Baldwin. These were the casualties of the Sunday 10 p.m. death slot. And so I don't see how The Rookie survives.
I don't see how it does either, especially after all, especially given the bad press that it received most recently. And again, this doesn't look good for anyone who's a fan of Nathan Fillion and The Rookie. So let's move on to what could be very chilly for our friends at CBS. Again, this is a network that I've said has been very unrelenting in its lineup as far as they stick to a formula and what has worked with them earlier this decade and for so many years they were still sticking to, maybe for too long of a period of time. But I want to hear your thoughts on what is cold currently with the fall TV lineup for CBS.
I feel like this is going to be the season where CBS Fridays are going to turn out cold, though, because they moved a week Monday through Thursday performer and puts it in the Friday lineup, which is the Friday lineup in recent seasons has been performing a whole lot better than its Sunday lineup. And Magnum PI is going to probably likely do like a 0.4 or a 0.5 in there. Probably lower ratings than MacGyver, which got benched. And that's not going to help things for Hawaii Five-O or Blue Bloods.
No, and those two have been a standby for quite some time now. I know a lot of people out there still enjoy those two shows, but you're right. With a show like Magnum PI or any other show that anchors it with a a really subpar 0.4, which in numbers translation for a large broadcast network like ABC, CBS, or NBC is really not a good sign for consistency. That's just not a good number to have. So that could be an issue for them. As like you said, if they're trying to go ahead and keep Blue Bloods and also Hawaii Five-O around for a long period of time, then they need a good show to go ahead and help boost those ratings for all three of the programs instead of having a show that's going to kill not only that specific show, but the other two shows involved on Friday nights. So,
and even then, like Magnum PI, like was one of the weaker performed shows. It was already getting like 0.7 at the end of its first season.
well, that's a shame. That's a shame indeed. But you know what? They can bring the Ferrari over here from Hawaii and go ahead and park it over here in the Glassford garage, and they can go ahead. If the show goes ahead and gets canceled, I'll take the residuals from that. But there is a lot more chilliness going on when it comes to other networks. I know you wanted to talk about what could possibly be chilly when it comes to NBC. Like I said, I think because they're the number one broadcast network, they're going to have a quicker axe, so to speak. You don't want to say trigger finger right now with all that's going on, but a quicker axe as far as as far as what they will not accept as far as ratings are concerned. So I want to hear what you think will be cold this fall when it comes to NBC.
I think with the blacklist coming on Fridays, I think that's going to possibly be cold, especially since it's been getting like 0.6s along the way for the rest of the season. I think that's going to possibly be cold, but fine for Fridays. But we also need to check and see how Dateline is going to hold up. Because at some point, they're going to have to cut the blacklist at this point, because we still had issues with Sony on NBC.
Well, don't mess with Dateline, or my wife will have it out with anybody, and it's including NBC, as far as if they cut that. But again, that's 27 seasons long, I think, already, or something like that, some obscene number, and that's just filler for them because they do more than just a regular 22 episode set. I mean, my gosh, I've seen the other day when my wife was streaming a most recent episode, what, season 27, episode 40 something or not, but that's just filler for them. So if they got a show that isn't performing well, you know what? Throw a Dateline here, throw a Dateline there, throw a Dateline here and there. And that seems to go ahead, depending on the subject matter, seems to get them by because a lot of people are still interested in that show. So I don't see anything really affecting Dateline. I think it's just there. I think it's regular food programming for a lot of people that just, you know what? I know it's there. And then if they've got any shows that they want to go ahead, NBC does, and cancel out, they're going to go ahead and slip another episode of Dateline in there just to go ahead and satiate an audience. So when it comes to what could be chilly with other good friends at Fox, I want to hear that's always something interesting because the fact that Fox is also something that goes through a lot of turnover. They have a lot of shows that go through turnover, in my opinion, as far as, okay, we don't like these shows, we'll just take a bunch out, we'll put a bunch in, we'll see what works. They're more than any other network that I believe are the ones in broadcast network that loves to throw darts and see what sticks.
I feel like since they're going to return animation domination, like it's going to do well, like with football numbers, but animation outside football, blah, it's not going to do well. And Sunday night on Fox recently has done very poorly.
And that's something to be wary of as far as for that fans of that type of programming. But Fox, again, I just think they throw a lot of stuff out there and they see what sticks. And that's what I like about them. They're willing to take chances. Whether or not these shows work, they go ahead and they cut it. They cut it pretty quickly. But still, they seem to go ahead and take chances a little bit more than some of the other networks that we see out there. Finally, last but not least, are your good friends at CW. So I want to hear, what do I need a parka? What do I need to put on a parka for when it comes to what's chilly at the CW?
Well, it's not just chilly, it's going to be really chilly for new Friday night 9 p.m. show, Dynasty. It got moved from its 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. for season 3. And it's going to be really chilly because we're going to see whether or not this is going to be the season where it's going to hit below 0.1 in the unrounded ratings, because we're going to probably be using unrounded ratings for CW, especially since ratings are getting so low.
Oh my gosh, that sounds frigid. When it concerns a 0.00, the TVRatingsGuide.com is going to have to redo itself and remake itself to go ahead and add an extra decimal to all of its ratings, especially for the CW. If it gets into 0.033 or 0.0003 or something like that, that just seems very very bad for not only your outlet but also the network as a whole. And if I don't know if that becomes the norm for the CW, why they stay in existence is still beyond me. But
Thanks,
again,
streaming.
Sorry,
Thanks,
go ahead.
streaming.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
then the 9 p.m. slots basically have established itself within the last few seasons as independent of its lead-in. Legacy's not so much, but you have the other 9 p.m. slots, especially when it's going to hit already at point 2 with most of the 9 p.m.s. And Riverdale is going to probably be heading there at 8 p.m. already. This is going to be a really frigid season.
It's going to be a really frigid season indeed. Once again, it's my good friend Jessica Boggs from dtvratingsguide.com. You got to check out all of her great work there, plus all the original programming that they have. Obviously, ratings, news, and updates, and reviews of all the great shows that they cover as well. That's the tvratingsguide.com for all your latest and greatest news on the entertainment and television world. My friend, there's when it comes to everything that's going on in the TV ratings world, there's a lot that's going on and a lot of talk. In the past couple weeks, I've heard nothing but praise or nothing but excitement, enthusiasm through, for various outlets and social media about the show from HBO called Succession. And this is something that for a lot of people went under the radar seemingly in season 1. It wasn't talked about as much. There didn't seem to be as much interest. But my oh my, season 2 is coming out. Season 2 has come out to some big ratings for HBO, and a lot of people are now talking about, at least it's on the radar actually, as far as HBO Succession. So I want to hear your thoughts. What is hitting with Succession? Why is it suddenly the talk of television at this point in time?
Well, it set a new record, by 200ths with the 0.18, and that has topped its season 1 premiere ratings. But now we're going to see whether it's a mini Yellowstone or a mini Power as the season goes on. And it also has a lot of critical acclaim, like all your tepid performing HBO shows. If it's not the ratings, it's the acclaim that makes the show a huge part of HBO.
You're right on that, because when it comes to HBO programming, a lot of their shows that don't get the ratings get the critical acclaim, and they seem to always be battling out these days when it comes to Emmy nominations. We've talked about it on a previous episode, how the latest Emmy nominations, it seemed to be a collection of either HBO or Netflix vying for the top. And that's what I think we're going to be seeing, at least in the near future, when it comes to television programming. And Netflix and HBO battling it out for who's going to go ahead and be one up who in as far as acclaim is concerned. So that's going to be interesting to see. But Succession really has taken hold with an audience. Those are some big ratings for a show that a lot of people, again, was under the radar. Not a lot of people talked about it at this point in time. In its first season, didn't seem to garner that much interest, or at least that many eyes upon it. But do you think that also could be a fact that there's no Westworld yet, but there's also now a void when it comes to HBO viewers without having any Game of Thrones?
I think honestly it has established itself as a huge hit on HBO streaming, despite having almost 700,000 viewers in this season premiere. But when you add streaming, that's over 2 million. And I think they're getting intrigued by the protagonists, the Roy family dynamics in Succession. So
I agree. Go ahead.
So we're kind of seeing I think it's going to be at least kind of a mini Yellowstone type thing. I think it's too soon for it to be a mini Power. Although Power started under the radar, and now it's going to a huge hit for Starz.
But HBO has the backing and the power behind it to go ahead and keep marketing Succession out there to make it an even bigger hit because like I've said, it's all over the place on social media, and it's all over the place as far as outlets are reporting on it. Outlets that never even gave it the time of day this time last year or this time when his first season, they're now having reviews on it. They're dedicating podcasts to it. They're talking about it left and right. So it's interesting to see the type of foothold Secession now has, and the audience that's now the audience that's now getting in. It's going to be very interesting to see if that holds up. I think it will, because HBO's marketing power will probably continue that format. In fact, I think it will hold up better than Yellowstone, because Paramount, even though it is pushing Yellowstone as its marquee franchise as far as its network, just the sheer fact that Paramount is not spending as much money on overall marketing than, let's say, an HBO would. There's a limitation as far as how much it will go and how much we'll see as far as continuing with the success of Yellowstone. But I definitely think that Succession will become HBO's one of their major go-to series going forward. Do you agree, or do you think that it's something that is going to be like a flash in the pan? This time next year, nobody will be talking about Succession.
I think it's still too soon to talk about whether it's going to be like a flash in a pan like next season. But I do think it's going to, with the post Game of Thrones world, like I expect it to become a solid player, if not a tentpole for it. It's not going to garner some of the huge ratings that some of your top HBO shows, but I think it's going to be enough for it to last at least a few more seasons. But still too soon on the flash in the pan and whatnot.
Once again, I have my good friend Jessica Boggs from the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out all the great stuff that she's doing, along with all the other writers that are at the TVRatingsGuide.com. All right, my friend, we've talked about in previous episodes, we talked about a great fall preview, which they got to check out on the PCC Multiverse. We've talked about why people need to check out Secession and what all the hubbub's all about, and if whether or not that show is going to continue to find that success. So on this particular part of our conversation, we're going to be talking about what you think, like kind of like a recap, a scorecard, a report card of what went on during the summer. And I'll start off with this. I actually, before we went on the air, talked to you about this. It's interesting because at the time we were broadcasting this, the time we recorded this, Lucy Liu is coming back to CBS All Access with her show, Why Women Kill, which I heard a lot of advanced word. There's good pub about it, and I wish her tremendous success with that. But in the wayside, on the same day that debuts, another show that she was doing, Elementary, which for many years was something that a lot of people like myself liked, is just getting brushed under the rug in its final series, in its final episode of the series. Your thoughts on, both those series, the one on CBS All Access, which is coming out, and the one she was a part of with Elementary that's going bye-bye.
I would think it's a different, because there's a little bit of a difference, because one is streaming and can easily do less episodes, and one is a broadcast show that can range from, it used to get like over 20 episodes per season for Elementary. She's still making big bucks from it. Now with Why Women Kill, with a lower subscriber base than Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime, that's going to probably last a little bit, but not as long as Elementary has.
And she said she's gone on the record, she likes the 10 episode format. It allows her to spend more time with her family, and that's good. But also, this could be a precursor to even more interesting formats in the way the CBS and Viacom, now that they're one big happy family again after their reunification is the word that they're using, that they've come back together and are now looking to go ahead and start franchising some things out and start promoting things. That could be something that they look towards to the CBS All Access, which has been a great surprise overall as far as streaming. No, it's not quite Netflix. No, it's not quite Amazon Prime, but they do have very good numbers, very promising numbers. I know there's talk about the Star Trek universe being something that they want to go ahead as far as now that Viacom and CBS have now been joined back together. That's something they want us to even promote even stronger. I know that they're trying to start comparing it, or at least the press is anyways, trying to compare it to the Marvel universe, the DVC universe. I'm like, whoa, hold your horses there yet. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. Hold your horses. But let's see. Let's wait and see what goes on. But that could be a cornerstone as far as what's going on is, with all the stuff that they're doing and all the success stories that they have on CBS All Access. So you could be seeing a bigger emphasis on that in the near future because of the reunification. So before we talked about that, but there's a lot of stuff that we want to recap when it comes to summer programming with the broadcast networks that are out there. All right. So I want to hear your thoughts on what was hot with ABC this summer. What really worked when it comes to ABC?
I think overall, and it should be no surprise, it's the Bachelor universe and social media and the controversy and everything else and their marketing. It's pretty much what kept the lights on for the most part at ABC, starting with The Bachelorette, and now we're going into Bachelor in Paradise, which is pretty much the little sister of The Bachelorette. And The Bachelorette actually pretty much rose in the ratings, whereas Bachelor in Paradise is steady. So that was what was hot on ABC.
They seem to put a bigger emphasis than other networks. I'm not going to say all the networks, but they put a bigger emphasis on their programming during the course of summer. I like that. Holy moly! I know that's something that this also has been talked about, whether good or bad, whatnot. We'll talk about here in a little bit. But when it comes to what was hot with our friends at CBS, I want to hear your thoughts. Once again, it is reality programming coming to a head at what's hot at another network.
Big Brother is going to, despite declining ratings, it still ended up being like one of the top rated shows for CBS, if not the top rated show for CBS. And it's also garnering a lot of controversy on social media, like as it always does every single year, especially with the live feeds and everything else that goes on Twitter.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And that's something that a lot of people will be looking forward to again next summer when Big Brother it's like clockwork when it comes out each and every year to CBS. Now, we've talked about what's gone on with ABC. We talked about CBS, what was good with them. Before we go ahead, I want to talk about NBC right now before we go into Fox. So we've been going in that order as far as last week on our fall TV previews. So I know with NBC, you want to talk about a lot of good things that were there, but I don't think you can talk about what's hot without talking about American Ninja.
Even though it's like American Ninja Warrior, like it's still pretty solid though, but everything like this past summer season has been in fractional territory outside of America's Got Talent. And all the ratings so far have gone down. So I couldn't pick a clear favorite on what was hot besides AGT.
So even though American Ninja Warrior has been winning the ratings as far as on many days in the past few weeks. It is still down overall from last year. Is that correct?
It is. It's not even hitting 1.0s regularly as it did last season. And that's because like the whole network is down. And even AGT is down. So there's no clear favorite.
That's very interesting. Okay. Well, again, not everything is not all these broadcast networks put the same amount of emphasis on their summer programming. It looks like NBC, even though it's had some solid hits, like you said, with America's Got Talent and also American Ninja Warrior, it seems like they are not actually putting enough into it. So maybe they'll have to refocus and go ahead and look towards next year or next summer as far as putting out some better programming or revamping some of its more popular broadcasts, more popular television shows. Now, with our good friends at ABC, CBS, and Fox, and CBS and NBC done, we got to talk about what's going on with Fox. How did they do this summer as far as what was hot for them? What really worked?
I think the clear, like prior to the ratings coming out today, I said that the clear favorite hit, they focused all their promotion on Beverly Hills 90210, the pseudo reboot.
Okay, I'm sorry, doing the theme song there, but go ahead.
And then it premiered to like a 1.5. And then just as the ratings came out today, it's at 0.9, but it did rise in the half hour from a 0.9 to like a 1.0 at like 8:30. So you got to see if the ratings are back again.
That's a nostalgia thing. And when it concerns a nostalgia thing, a lot of people have an initial interest in, and then it just drops from there. So you know, you and I have seen this before with many shows where it peaks high at the start and just has a tendency to be going down as people lose interest and the nostalgia thing ends. So you're right. This is something that you're going to have to keep an eye on at the TVRatingsGuide.com if it will go ahead long term and be something that the network can rely upon. But there is some type of nostalgia I think that's going to stay there in this specific case. How long it's going to stay there, I can't tell for sure. But I think you're right. You've already seen already with the people that, okay, I wanted to check out one episode and I'm done. You saw a lot of that with concerns when there's that big a drop. But can it hold a 0.8, 0.9, or even a 1.0 in the near future? We will definitely keep. I'm sure you and the folks at the TVRatingsGuide.com will keep everyone updated on that. So we talked about ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox and what was hot and what worked for them over the course of the summer. I do want to hear your thoughts with our good friends at the CW. Never want to go ahead and shut them out entirely because there are some things that they put on over the summer that definitely that does work for them.
It was a clear hit. You got the usual suspects, Who's Line and Penn and Teller. Like they're the only shows that did not hit a 0.1 on a regular basis. But still, I feel like CW needs to completely redo their programming all in the summer because they pretty much punted on cheap imports and the marketing promotion.
You'll forgive me if I'm laughing when you say they need to redo their summer programming. I think they need to redo their entire slate all year long. But that's just me. I mean, when you become used to, hey, we did a 0.3, we've got a big hit on our hands. That's not the way it's supposed to work. That's not long lasting for any type of network that's on a broadcast format. So I don't know. Okay, I think they need to reevaluate themselves as an entire entity. But let's start off with the summer. Okay, I'll give you that. You know, when Penn and Teller are your leading, is one of your leading shows in the summer. As much as I love the act that Penn and Teller do here in Vegas, I can understand why that reevaluation needs to take place. So we talked about what was hot for all the networks. Let's talk about what was tepid. So I want to hear your thoughts on what was tepid when it comes to ABC. And don't tell me it was Holy Moly.
Well, holy moly, it started out really good, like early on, like in the summer, and then it ended up in point 0.5, point 0.6 territory, like in the later runs.
Told
But
you they should have kept Wipeout.
same, really same. But
Oh,
it's part of like the whole. I mean, when one show is down, like the whole Thursday night lineup is down too. And we've already seen clear weak links with the Thursday night lineup. I mean, the game shows outside of The Bachelor, they did meh. Family Feud, the celebrity version of Family Feud, is not setting the ratings world on fire, but still solid. The $100,000 pyramid. And then you also have like the meh shows like Match Game and Card Sharks and Press Your Luck.
pretty much every rehash show from the 70s. You're right. You're right. Every rehashed game show from the 70s. You're right. You're right. But there is some stuff that you could say is tepid when it comes to CPS and their summer programming. I know we talked about Elementary. I think it closed out okay, not too bad. 0.6, 0.7s, even I think a zero point 0.8 during the course of the season. Not too bad for something that really wasn't at all promoted very well for a final season by CBS. I think they really gave it a diss. And again, like I said, for something that made them a buku amount of bucks in syndication. But I know there's some other things that you want to talk about when it comes to what was tepid at CBS.
I think the only thing that was tepid because there were really, because CBS overall was pretty cold on the network side. The only thing that I can pick up on that was really tepid, but still kind of solid, was Elementary and its final season and how it's chugging along. Everything else is basically repeats of shows, including a repeat of The Big Bang Theory that you're not going to see anymore when fall rolls around. So pretty much CBS punted. They
And
probably need to reevaluate their programming.
that's a shame that they want to go ahead and rely upon a lot of reruns because that's giving up on an audience that might not come back for the fall season. I'm going to tell you right now, I think networks do need to put an emphasis on their summer because there is a chance that people will not actually come back year after year in the fall to go ahead and check out some shows because the summer, if you have a decent summer, that could set up your fall quite nicely. But again, that's a neither here nor there type deal. I know we talked about what was tepid so far with ABC and CBS. So we've got NBC next on the list. What was tepid as far as NBC?
Besides, like the solid reality tent poles in there that's declining, I think one clear link with NBC that's clearly tepid but should have been doing better is Sonland. And it's how it was scheduled that put me on the tepid side. And you've seen it in the results. Like it came back to a 0.7, which is okay, but not setting the world on fire.
And that's a shame that that's happening. But I guess I know there were some people out there that had voiced their opinions on social media that they really kind of liked the show. And Songland every now and then still gets kind of passing buzz if there's a certain individual or for a certain song that's sung on the program. So that's a shame that Songland is not actually hitting with audiences the way it should. But what is going on at Fox that you think was tepid during the course of the summer as well?
I think outside of MasterChef, like all the realities are the veteran reality shows have been struggling for the most part. Even So You Think You Can Dance. And So You Think You Can Dance has been hitting right now at 0.4, 0.5, though, and it's clearly not the show in its heyday. But Fox is going to probably keep it around for like another season because they have nothing else going on. But there was a really, really weak link that really messed with the fall thing. I mean, the game shows also are doing okay, whereas like Spin the Wheel, but Beat Shazam, they're not really setting the world on fire as far as ratings goes, but Fox is going to probably keep them around for another season because nothing else is going on.
I can see that right now in a board meeting when it comes to Fox recapping its summer programming and saying, you know, what do we need to do to go ahead and have another great summer season here at Fox? And you're just like, yeah, let's just keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going. Speaking of keeping it going and a boardroom when it comes to the CW, they're looking up at everyone. And when it comes to their summer programming, their ratings are even worse than they are in the fall. So I want to know what makes to be tepid, what makes to be on the borderline when it comes to whatever shows are brought out during the summer, or what shows came out this summer on the CW.
I think the strongest 0.1, Masters of Illusion on Fridays, and it finally hit its 0.1 streak after many years of 0.2s. And we're just going to have to go with the unrounded ratings because you got The Outpost, you have 2-sentence horror stories, which we don't know its unrounded ratings fully. And that's pretty tepid.
You know, is 0.1 is tepid to you? That's really saying something about the network itself. But yeah, again, we've already stressed on that enough. Once again, it's my good friend Jessica Boggs from the TVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out all the great stuff that they're doing there. I got to ask you, we talked about what was hot in the summer recap of television. We talked about what was tepid in the summer recap for television. Okay, you know, we really can't put on a parka during the summer, but what actually provided a good chill that maybe you could put into a nice little drink to make it nice and cold? What was nice and cold when it comes to, well, not so nice and cold, but what was cold when it comes to ABC?
What was really cold was their Thursday night shows. Grand Hotel, Reef Break, that was a clear cold one. Like, cold one that you could see, and Family Food Fight. These were clearly cold, with Grand Hotel not getting the ratings that its lead-in needs. Because it's clearly an independent audience from the Bachelor universe.
Now that's pretty frigid, that's for sure. And I know there's a lot of other things that you want to talk about when it comes to what else was cold on broadcast networks. So I want to hear your thoughts. While the reality competition series and the reality shows worked in so many ways for a lot of different networks, again, you're telling me like an ABC, some of it didn't work. What didn't work and what was frigid at CBS?
Love Island, Instinct, and The Good Fight. The repeats of The Good Fight, which is a CBS All Access show. Everything's pulling 0.2 or 0.3 on the drama part that's original outside of Elementary. And then you got Love Island, ranging from 0.3 to 0.5. And they renewed that show because of its streaming numbers. I don't know how. That show belongs on MTV.
Well,
That
again, now that they're
show,
one big happy family, they can go ahead and do that very easily.
they should. Honestly, they should put that on MTV. It fits right well with it.
Well, what is frigid? Well, speaking of other frigid networks during the course of the summer, in our summer recap, NBC, I'm sure, had its share of shows that didn't quite cut up to the mustard when it comes to what was frigid and what actually didn't perform very well for NBC this summer.
The summer, it didn't really do well. Hollywood Game Night and the in between. Clearly, Hollywood Game Night is a shadow of itself, and yet it's cheap to produce. So NBC is going to be like, we have nothing else going on. We're just going to renew it and call it a day. But the in between, that was all. I'm pretty sure that's already getting canned because a 0.4 is somewhat unacceptable.
Unless you're at the CW.
Unless you are at the CW, correct.
So what was actually frigid? Not going to CW just yet because again they're looking up at everybody else, but we cannot forget Fox when it comes to their summer programming. They had some stuff that hit, but they also had some stuff that missed as well.
Yeah, Fox didn't just have two mixes, they have two big misses. One was Paradise Hotel. The other one is called, that airs on Sunday nights, called What Just Happened with Fred Savage. And Paradise Hotel was airing like 5 nights a week, and then or 3 to 5 nights a week, and then they cut it to 1. That's because it hit 0.4, 0.5 ratings out the yin yang. And it was disappointing for Fox standards until you reach What Just Happened with Fred Savage. That show is mostly at, even on the CW, if you're a WB show, that is clearly unacceptable. That's like liquid nitrogen type frigid or dry ice type frigid.
Poor Fred Savage. He just doesn't get a break.
I know, he doesn't really. This is embarrassing.
Yes, for him it is. And I'm sorry to see that happen to him because he seems like a pretty nice guy. But hey, you know what? What happens to the best of us. Last but not least, we do have to, speaking of the CW, which you just mentioned, since they aren't going to take Fred Savage onto their network at any point in time real soon, what was really cold when it comes to the summer programming at CW?
Oh, there was one that clearly went below 0.1 in the unrounded ratings. I had it right here. That was Burden of Truth, and that aired on Sunday nights. Down 41%, almost 42% in the key demo and airing on Sunday nights. But there were also a few misses in there in the lower 0.1s territory. You got like Pandora, 2-sentence horror stories, a lot of them that are in the low 0.1s territory. They're the ones that are 9 p.m. slots. Like there's literally, it's like you got like hits like earlier in the week, like Penn and Teller, Whose Line, The 100, which was recently renewed for the final season. That's going to be airing this summer. All at 0.2s, following like the final season of iZombie, and then Masters of Illusion, and then you have like everybody at 0.14 or below. Like, you just got to reevaluate their summer programming.
That they do indeed. Once again, I'm on with my good friend. It's Jessica Boggs from theTVRatingsGuide.com. You got to check out their amazing stuff today at theTVRatingsGuide.com. All right, Jessica, we talked in the past 3 episodes, we talked about what was going on with the best, what was going on with the best and worst with the fall TV schedule. We also talked previously on another episode about what was good with Secession and why people need to check it out. So, and then today, and then on today's show, we talked about as well what is going on with the summer recap of what was going on with all the broadcast networks. Before we head on out, I gotta make sure you go ahead and give a shout out to what's going on at the TVRatingsGuide.com, and if there's anything you want to talk about with that you people need to look forward to this fall when it comes to if there's anything on cable or if there's anything on streaming that you think people need to check out as well. And again, mention why people need to check out the TVRatingsGuide.com.
Well, we do. Usually we do reviews on some of your favorite shows, but we also have renew, cancel indexes. We have original shows that we write as like 3 to 5 page scripts. It's basically like a serialized show that you follow every week. Okay, that was awkward.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. I didn't mute my microphone, did I?
No. But you said that was awkward. I didn't know what you were saying. That was awkward too. So it must have been the sound that you could hear and whatnot. But go ahead, continue.
Well, besides our reality renew cancel, we also have some of our editorial series where we give our takes on shows, what's going on TV. That's in addition to our daily ratings reports. And we're pretty interested on getting Chicago affiliate ratings, though. Now that Empire is no longer on Wednesday nights.
But you still got the one Chicago thing. You got to go ahead and let everybody know how that's translating to that audience. I'm intrigued to find out exactly how big the one Chicago 3-hour block on NBC is going to do long term with NBC. But before we head on out, I want to ask you: is there anything people need to look towards to on cable this fall or streaming that you think people need to check out?
I think we have besides reality, we have some of your new shows that are coming out as far as on the dramas. We have some new fall cable shows coming that's going to be in the same aspect as you got The Crown coming back, but it's going to have a brand new cast in there. You have American Horror Story coming back. And the controversial Netflix series, Teen TV's most controversial series, returns to shepherd us back into the fall season. 13 Reasons Why is coming back. And we also have Elite on Netflix, which is going to premiere its whole second season on Friday, September 6th. Like the leading murder teen show that's in there. The Deuce on HBO is going to premiere on Mondays in September. And American Horror Story 1984 Season 9 is coming on the 18th. These are some of your cable and streaming shows that are coming this September.
All right, so there's a lot of great things to look forward to, not only on the broadcast outlets, but also as well on cable and streaming. Just a ton of content that's out there. I think it's almost too much, but then again, we could go back to the days of the black and white television when there was only channel 2, channel 4, channel 7, channel 13, and
Channel 5.
channel 5 and channel 58 or something like that. If you want to actually go ahead and try and see through whatever distortion and type of interference there was to try and check out what was on that channel. But
Well, we also have The Walking Dead coming in October, which is a few months from now, on Sunday nights. And we're going to have like a lot of Twitter buzz on, even on a declining rating show on The Walking Dead. Season 10 is going to be premiering October 6th at 9. The latest season of AMC's unkillable zombie drama.
Well, you know what? There could be a death in the future because there is another show that they are developing that's coming out next year in the Walking Dead universe. The original show, The Walking Dead, or Fear the Walking Dead. Those, I know Fear the Walking Dead may still have some life after a lot of people thought it was going to be dying. In fact, a lot of people like myself thought it was going to be on the way out, but you never know. AMC might renew it, but with the Walking Dead comic now being finito and done, the future for the Walking Dead series itself, the main one, that could be up in the air as far as how long that is going to be laid out. I'll have to talk to my great expert, Daphne Matthew, from the Walking Dead fan base. She always gives me the insight on the future of all of those shows. So I'm going to have to get her back on the program here soon to give us the update on that. And plus, you will see it on the ratings end. If the ratings decline is going to continue, that it's been occurring over the past 3-4 years, and it's been a steep decline, that also could play a factor as well on the future of the Walking Dead and the Walking Dead universe. My friend, it's been great having you on the program for all three episodes. It's so great to have you on the PCC Multiverse. It's so great to have you on the Pop Culture Cosmos. And again, just thanking you so much for taking the time to talking to us today, and looking forward to having you on next month with your September TV update right here on the Pop Culture Cosmos.